So, Julie, good morning.
Good morning.
Will you help us and get the day started, please? She'll be dancing. She said she'll be dancing while she does the
Story. This, being here, is one of the best things that have happened in my life. It's an honor and a privilege to be among a group of people who see the value in intangible cultural heritage. I'm happy that the Grenada National Trust and UNESCO are positioning us as stewards of a legacy of lifting our heads above water, no matter how much we've been pushed down. We're on another level. Thank you.
All right.
Some of the key learnings from yesterday are our living heritage is a part of life, and as Nigel pointed out more than once, our living heritage is the intangible side of human existence. It all comes from the creativity of individuals. Young, middle-aged, elders, we are the generation that knowledge didn't skip. Intangible heritage belongs to the people, the community, and we are collaborators in generating and systemizing the knowledge that exists within the community. We are part of a dialogue. The creative process of inventory is a cycle that doesn't really end. Despite their level of education, our community members are creative experts, not just informants. I know that consent of the community is imperative. Inventorying ICH does not violate customary practices, and neither do we acquiesce to situations that we're not comfortable with. When it comes to inventorying ICH, the state has ratified the 2003 convention, but we have a responsibility to document our living heritage as we see fit, and that's a privilege. Living, ongoing, updating, performing arts, oral tradition, language, traditional craftsmanship, social practices, rituals, festive events, folk, drum, djembe, variation. There's meaning in the things that people do, and our calling is one that we cannot escape. Drums may instill fear, but it also calls us to come together, listen, gather expert knowledge, share, rinse and repeat.
Well, if that isn't inspiration to start the day, no? All right, so let me quickly show we've adjusted the day's agenda because of our time constraint issue. So even this morning, I made an adjustment under the advice of Peter. We will be looking to establish our field groups today. Yesterday we had a meeting with our ICH coordinators. Adriana, correct me if I'm wrong, representing various islands and communities, is that right? All right, and they will be coordinating and leading a process of setting up our groups today for the conduct of the field work. We will do that at maybe after the break, after we've had time. I know many of you have responded to Adriana, and so we will have that discussion right after the break toward establishing and setting up those groups, discussing the communities that you'll be going to as well. For example, one of the criteria will be that you won't, like the carrier crew, for example, will not be working together. They'll be working in separate groups. Ideally, you want to have identified particular elements, and communities, practitioners. And so we'll be looking at 4 groups of 5 persons, more or less.
You have to log in.
Possibly a 5th group coming out of the Ministry of Culture.
Grenada National Trust.
But they'll be functioning together as a unit. All right, and so we'll Peter and the ICH coordinators, which are Andrea, Marlene, Dexter, and Peter. will be leading that process after the break. So we'll, since you've had time to read the materials overnight, I will go through very concisely the ethics in inventorying, the free, prior, and informed consent. And then we'll look at the methods and techniques of inventorying. We'll look briefly at audio recording in inventory, because one of the unique things about this workshop, for the first time, we're using primarily the telephone, mobile phone, cell phone, as the tool for inventorying, for this pilot inventorying, primarily because we're involving youth, no? And you'll be training youth in something, a tool that they already have at their disposal. We look at some of the nuances of that. But in the day, so let's get on the way then. The ethics in community-based inventory. So we'll be looking at the terminology, the ethical principles of safeguarding ICH, identifying the roles of different actors and different ethical issues.
That's why I needed to join you.
Key ethical issues and practical tips for an ethical approach to community-based inventory. You'll see though that at the end of it all, we'll narrow it down to one single document, which you might want to refer to as a sort of guide for you. Those of you with the expertise in culture, education, in doing publication and so on, but I've had to deal with some of these ethical issues already. And so I'd like to hear from you how you navigated those issues in the past, or challenges you may have encountered with when dealing with ethical concerns in dealing with people on a whole, no? So what does it mean? It means doing the right thing. Of course, it's very weird that you would say doing the right thing, because right is in, what do you call it? Quotations there. Because, no? Though there are some basic human principles, universal